less known side of things from Marvel, the Thunderbolts, an organization that is something along the lines of the lesser evil, there when you need them, but not want them. An origin story like no other. Members of the team appearing in the MCU. Contessa as the main instigator for all of it are just some of the details we have for you about the upcoming Thunderbolts movie. Oh, and the possible members of the first iteration of the team, of course. Recap. The big news for many people around the world, fans of the MCU, was the announcement that the MCU Thunderbolts project is in the works. It was in May of 2018 when the news first came up. However, no one knew what the project would be, as the description of the project stated, a major franchise beyond the Avengers. This naturally went to immense speculation as to which major franchise then Disney CEO Bob Iger teased us all with. And after being in the dark of things for such a long time, we might be able to discuss the whole thing even further, especially after the recent reports and the major clue given. With everything taken into consideration, all the details and hints along the road are pointing straight to the term Thunderbolts, a movie that reportedly has been set to begin production in 2023. The Thunderbolts are a team traditionally composed of villains, some of who are seeking redemption by reinventing themselves as heroes, with the others having their own agendas. Even with all the reports and everything about the upcoming movie, we got quite the picture that everyone was about the Thunderbolts movie, especially now that we already have some members of the team in the comics in the MCU. For example, one of the main purposes of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier appeared to be to reinvent Baron Zemo, thus with the character becoming more comic book accurate. This and the fact that he is the Thunderbolts founder and generally the leader of the team.
Don't worry. I've decided I'm not going to kill you.
The Thunderbolts are not a team that everyone knows around the world. Comic book fans will be familiar with them, but general audiences will probably know less. However, they are also the team that you need to do the dirty work for you. And before we move forward, we think that we should look into things a little deeper. A good backstory is not a bad thing, right? Origins. It might be hard to believe to all of those who are not fans of the comics that back in 1996, one of the best known and biggest franchises was the X-Men, with Fantastic Four and the Avengers franchise struggling on the sales side of things for years. So something needed to be done. Marvel made a bold move and made a crossover event called Onslaught, which showed us the removal of non-mutant heroes and placing them in a new universe, rebooting them, giving them a fresh start. This move had a downside as well, as it left the main Marvel universe without many of the most familiar faces, which have been part of the continuity for decades. However, as time went by and new issues were being released, Marvel began teasing a replacement for the Avengers, a team who would step out of the shadows doing the job they need to do in the absence of Earth's mightiest heroes. A strong marketing push was also given to Thunderbolts, and a first issue ending with a strong twist was just one of the first reasons many readers knew what they were getting. Every member of the team was a villain operating under a fake identity, a well-hidden, tiny but significant detail that left the reader stunned, as it was never mentioned in the marketing side of things, and the Thunderbolts were probably the first of their kind, as the origin story of theirs was nothing like anything the readers expected. After their debut in 1996, the Thunderbolts has had many iterations. However, the main thing about them, a team composed of villains or characters rather shady, has always stayed within the organization. The narrative was always there. Some of the Thunderbolts members were using the team to their end. For example, Spider-Man's enemy, Green Goblin, was once a part of the team. He also ran the time for quite a while, when he was able to set everything up so he could become the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D., launching the Dark Reign era in the process. On the other hand, members of the team have felt redeemed in the eyes of the public, coming to enjoy the life of a superhero. The best example would be a Z-list villain called Screaming Mimi, a sonic manipulator who started to serve alongside the Avengers and become a superhero. Many would compare the Thunderbolts to the DC's Suicide Squad team. And yes, the two are very similar. The backstory of the members, the project being liked by the US government, etc. Several iterations of the time in the recent time have been assembled as Black Ops team. So even by the fact that a Thunderbolts movie is coming, we are not even close to knowing what the movie might look like. The possibilities are endless. Thunderbolts MCU members. As we mentioned before, we can see the movie is coming to the MCU, with members slowly but surely being introduced in the MCU. Members of the team, who we think will all comprise the first iteration of the team when the movie releases. The most notable character to start things off is Baron Zemo, who was the one who played a key role in Captain America Civil War, but was interpreted to become a far more comic book accurate self in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Then we have Ghost, who made her debut in Ant-Man and the Wasp. But kind of a different, more sympathetic version of the character appeared this time around as part of the MCU when compared to her comic book counterpart. The Black Widow movie was the one that introduced us to a third key member of the team, Taskmaster, with a slightly different origin story because she was a victim of abuse and then turned into an assassin by her father. Several other major characters have been part of the Thunderbolts team, including Hawkeye and the Winter Soldier as well, both of whom had led the team for quite some time. The US agent has also been part of the team occasionally. Even Natasha's sister, Yelena Belova's Black Widow, has been associated with them at some point. The team looks to be jam-packed, and with several other members that are going to get introduced, we are moving on as to what the plot might look like. MCU Thunderbolts movie. Every little is known about the movie's plot, or nothing at all, so to speak, other than the fact that the production is beginning in 2023. However, given the members of the team and the sudden appearances of more and more characters who have been part of the team at some point in their lives, we can see that Marvel Studios has kind of an idea as to where the movie could go. Right off the bat, we think that Baron Zemo will ultimately be the first leader of the team, which would align with his counterpart in the comics and the role he had in the team. The idea for a Thunderbolts could have also been seen in both Black Widow and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as the two projects feature shady government operative recruiting operatives, specifically US Agent and Yelena Belova, both character part of the comics Thunderbolts team as well. The character of Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine has been a complex one, just like in the comics, a former lover of Nick Fury, who was also a high-ranking Hydra agent at the time. Thus, she is suited to be responsible for the MCU's Thunderbolts origin story. On a related note, tell us down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on the Thunderbolts members introduced in the MCU so far? And which other members would you like to see as part of the same team? And also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you would like to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.